Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. And we've got a major winter storm in the western half of the United States. And that includes winter storm and blizzard warnings up for many locations. Got the risk for some snow and ice for later Wednesday night into Thursday for the interior Northeast. And we've got record warmth that is going to spread across the South, the Southeast, and eventually up into the mid-Atlantic states. That's all going to be coming up tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show live at 7:35 p.m. So we hope to see you then. Weather in 5 is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, in southwest Suffolk County on Long Island, and they serve the entire New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area with everything you need. Transition over from winter to spring. We've got mulch, we've got sand, topsoil, whatever it is you need, you can get it over at Omni. 631-756-1125. Best prices anywhere. OmniTrueValue.com is the website. And we do have a big storm that is getting underway in the western part of the United States. I'm just going to give you a quick look here at some of the models, and then we're going to just go back to looking at other factors like satellite and radar. And you just see this very big, sprawling Arctic high covering much of southern Canada, and that's creating an easterly flow of very cold air that's going to extend from the Great Lakes all the way back to the West Coast and even down as far south as Southern California into Arizona and New Mexico. This is going to cover a lot of geography before this is all said and done. We're going to see some big snow amounts. And in the Northeast, it looks like in the interior parts of the Northeast, there's going to be some ice and some snow out of this, although the bigger amounts are going to be more toward the west. And as we look at the watches and warnings, this is really pretty extensive here. We have winter storm watches up for upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and into Maine. I suspect that we're going to see some of these expanded a bit, and some winter weather advisories will probably go up in areas to the south of that where there will be some ice issues. And we also have winter storm watches up, which will probably go to warnings in Michigan and for the rest of Wisconsin. Blizzard warnings for southwestern Minnesota, eastern South Dakota, southern Wyoming, parts of northeastern Montana, and winter storm warnings just about everywhere else from there, all the way into the Cascades and Washington and Oregon, the coastal range down into Northern California. We have also winter storm warnings for the Sierra Nevadas, into even the mountains as far south as San Diego, and also in northern Arizona and northeastern New Mexico. Let's not forget Colorado, Utah, and Nevada out of all of this. I mean, this is really a big deal here. And you start to see it in terms of clouds that's setting up in the west. We also have some high clouds moving across the south. There's very warm air that's going to be spreading across the south and southeast and mid-Atlantic with record highs. And we've got two weather systems that playing through in the northeast. One's already offshore and came through during the overnight and early morning hours. And if you were up, you might have even seen some rare snowflakes out of it. And there's a cold front to the west. And believe it or not, we've got severe weather risks being indicated by the Storm Prediction Center with this cold front, a marginal risk of severe weather for eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey for later this afternoon and into tonight. Also, a marginal risk in parts of Oklahoma and north central Texas. And then tomorrow, as that storm really gets underway, we're setting up for a slight risk and tornado risk from Oklahoma northeastward into southern Illinois. Right now on the radar, let's take a look at what's going on in the Northeast as of 1 p.m. And you can see some showers here moving across Pennsylvania. There are a few of these yellow patches you see on the radar that could eventually evolve up into an isolated thunderstorm with that marginal risk and a bit of a line that is further to the west in west central PA that is moving eastward. And all of this will spread across New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, southern New England, and Long Island later this afternoon and into the first part of tonight. Meanwhile, the radars are loading up in the west. We've got snow in the Dakotas. We've got snow in southwest Minnesota, back across Wyoming into southern Idaho, northern Utah, northern Nevada. Also snow and some rain in the mix along the coast snow in the west in Washington and Oregon and down into Northern California. And here's the current surface map. Got this wavy front cutting across the Rockies. The easterly isobars are just beginning to set up here, and temperatures across southern Canada are all below zero. So that's Arctic air that is bleeding southward and will continue to bleed southward in the western part of the U.S. Here's the probability of at least 2 inches. And you rarely see this line extending as far south into Southern California the way it is, and actually just north and west of Los Angeles in the mountains there. There's a 50% probability, 50% or higher probability of at least two. Red is a 95 to 100% probability. I'm going to jump up to a probability for 12, and there's a almost 100%, 80 to 100% chance in easternmost South Dakota, southern Minnesota, and across into Wisconsin. Meanwhile, as we look into the northeast, there's a small area in northwestern Maine where we have a probability of at least 12 or 50%, and northernmost New Hampshire. I'll load it down to four, lower it down to four, and you'll notice here also 80 to 100% probability. It's mainly north of I-90. I-90 is probably going to be the edge of where the accumulating snow is. Maybe it goes a little bit further south than that, but in terms of significant amounts, you're going to have to go north of I-90 with all of this. So that whole area of four, it stretches across the northern lakes, through the northern plains, into the Rockies, and then, except for the valley areas, up and down the west coast, even close enough to the coastal ranges of Oregon and Northern California. Not too far from San Francisco either, in terms of the percentage there of at least four. Yep, obviously that's going to be in elevated areas. Long range for Friday into Saturday, still ongoing in the southwest. There's more energy there, and that includes Southern Cal. In the east, by the time we get to Friday into Saturday, there's not much going on. Saturday into Sunday, you don't have much of anything happening. Sunday into Monday, again, not too much except for that little patch in southern Minnesota. And then Monday into Tuesday of next week, WPC, every time they try to put the probability of at least a few inches down to New York City and Philadelphia, it doesn't happen. So they've done it again. This is again Monday into Tuesday. I have my doubts. And also a 30 to 50% probability further north in upstate New York and into the Hudson Valley. So let's just back up with regards to what to expect here in the Northeast. So we got this front coming through. There'll be a shower. There'll be showers and maybe a thunderstorm, maybe even an isolated severe thunderstorm later this afternoon into this evening. It'll chill down on Wednesday. The core of that Arctic air is well to our west, but some of it is moving into eastern Canada. Some of it bleeds down tomorrow. The system out in the west, there's a giant warm front, a wave on that front near Kansas City with a warm front down into Virginia. So you've got ice and snow that breaks out ahead of it during Wednesday morning in Pennsylvania and then starts to move northeastward. I think for uh, areas from, you have to really go north of Route 84 probably to get into the freezing rain. And you see it there by 1 a.m. Thursday. It's south of I-90. There's freezing rain down to the Catskills, rain down to Long Island, snow to the north. Thursday morning, still some leftover rain around. Now, this warm front's going to have a real tough time on Thursday. So we're going to see temperatures that are going to be rather raw from northern New Jersey and New York City north and east. They'll be in the 40s to around 50 at best. South and west of there, central and south Jersey, southern Pennsylvania, and point southward Thursday will be at least in the low to mid 70s. Front comes through. We're going to dry out for Friday, turn a little colder, little or not much, not very cold, just colder. Let's call it that. And we'll have a chilly start to the weekend. Got a system going by to our north and to our south Saturday night. There's another weak front that approaches late on Sunday. Neither system looks to do very much. Maybe a little bit of snow in upstate New York and northern New England. Then we'll start off next week on the dry side as the next storm starts to power up. The next storm system, which looks like it wants to go to the Great Lakes. So we know that for the Northeast, particularly the coastal Northeast, that is going to be in the rain.
Weather in 5 is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, 631-756-1115, the phone number. Website is omnitruevalue.com. We'll see you tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time right here on YouTube.